Injustice that took place on the 4th of May at Manipur. Let's not go over the description of the video, the heinous crime that happened. What comments would you make on that?
It was perhaps the most unexpected collateral, they call, but as a woman who are not party to any political or decisions that actually matter to the community or the people at large, I personally, and as part of the autonomous women's movement in the region, and as a tribal mother and woman, condemn the act, the crime, in no uncertain terms. No way to condone, no justification is acceptable. So it may be any group. We condemn the fact that decisions for violence or conflicts are taken by menfolk, and they use the bodies of women. They treat women as battlefields. They use us as exploits of war, which is simply not acceptable in the 21st century India and the world, and even in the tribal communities. Our women folk in Northeast India are much more aware and thinking compared to many counterparts across the world. And it's very, very unfortunate and sad that our political leadership in the whole region, across party lines, across tribes, across states, have not condemned it even today. And the Prime Minister of India, the most vociferous, self-proclaimed, person, who keeps talking about Man Ki Baat, to people. He had no words of consolation, no words of condolences, no words of condemnation for such a crime for 77 days. And to blame the government of Manipur or Biren Singh, the Chief Minister, per se is no justification. There is no information, no intelligence which is not accessible to the Home Ministry, Government of India, the Prime Minister of India. And when Manipur was burning for 2.5 months, our Prime Minister had no time for the state, whereas time and again on many other occasions during election campaigns he has such lovey-dovey words for the people of Manipur and the state of Manipur. So I, for one, stand with my sisters in Manipur across both the conflicting communities. They have to be aware, they have to be alert, they have to be cautious, and also retain their compassion, patience and balance, because many of our sisters would be pitted against each other, and we must refrain from being used by vested parties, whichever. So that's all I have to say.
Also, now if you look into the situation now, the hovering debate is the state government not taking adequate steps, and the PM, the central government, on not taking the adequate steps. These are some of the topics that are going on, the burning issue. So what is your take on that, for not taking the adequate steps that they've been taking, and the Manipur being burned for last 2 months? So what is your look on that?
Manipur situation, the crisis has a very complex kind of backgrounds. Given that it was not impossible for the state government or the central government and leaderships to have contained the inflagration. Godhra, post Godhra, Gujarat also burnt, but it was contained in 3 days. Delhi riots, it was contained quickly as well. But why did the BJP government in Delhi and Imphal not even try to raise a finger to stop it, to contain it, to bring the conflicting parties for a truce, for a talk for peace? There is no problem that cannot be sorted out amicably, that cannot be sorted out with force, that cannot be sorted out across the table. Political will is what we needed to bring the warring parties for a discussion, for a talk across the table. And Government of India, the Government of Manipur, the BJP, no one even made the effort, or the usual theatrics also were not there. And we all know that Northeast has the largest tribal population. We also have the largest natural resources store as of today in the country. And because of our less population, the demography, but also the protection under the constitution, the 6th schedule status in most places, they have been our protection, our shield against exploitation. I personally, if you give me a few more moments, see it as a precursor to assault our land, our forests and resources. Right now, the amendment or the process of amendment of the Forest Conservation Act is in the offing in the Parliament, and our people out here in the region, we have no clue, or even if people are aware, their priority is now to deal with the fire that has been set in Manipur. And we really don't know how our parliamentarians are going to stand up for our people, or toward the court or the lines of the power that be in Delhi. So this also may be a diversionary tactic as usual by the BJP to kind of draw our attention towards an immediate problem in Manipur, so that our leadership, our people, our community organizations, our civil society organizations are firefighting and not lobbying with the parliamentarians to stop this proposed amendment to the FCA. So that is my personal take.
Okay, so last question would be as we know that Manipur has been burning for last 2 months and 2.5 months, yes, 77 days, and the safety of women is in a very vulnerable state now, and the issue was something else, but now the women's are being it's been reported that there are 8 women who have been molested and assaulted. They've been assaulted, but we don't know how many are yet to come out. So you, as a tribal woman and being a woman activist, what message would you pass on?
One, it is actually heartbreaking to realize that our people in this present times are also resorting to violating women's bodies and treating women as trophies of wars, which is not to be. Every group which actually decides to have a declare a war at each other, also they should follow the basic rules of wars and not go back to the battles and wars of the yore, where women of course were part of the trophies, war trophies, because human rights and values are something most of the militant groups also have been talking about themselves. People's movement have been talking about, NGOs, civil societies, community-based organizations. Everywhere, everyone has been talking about human rights, and they cannot today or any time when there is a conflict treat women as the kind of war trophies, or treat women's bodies as battlefields for their egos. And if possible, we must ensure that the political parties, especially the regional political parties, maintain a certain decorum, certain principle of relating with each other or one another in the region, so that if there is any issue of conflict, any bone of contention, they should be able to sit across the table and resolve without actually getting at each other's neck and finally end up on the bodies of the women. And when such a conflict has already erupted, without the women being party to any kind of decision to a violent situation, they have been targeted, they have been victimized. They are the ones who are trying to perhaps keep the children safe, the aged ones and the sick ones safe, even under the present circumstances. Given that, I would suggest that all concerned parties, organizations, governments, they should get skilled, wise, women on board to broker peace, and they should be part of the peace process for a more long-lasting or permanent, solution to all the issues of conflicts in the region.